Shalom, it's Levi Shore. Welcome back to Swing Torah. So this week we are learning about Parsha Pinchas. We're learning about the incredible Pinchas HaKohen, and we're going to learn how he received a bris shalom, a covenant of peace from Hashem. And what did he do to earn this bris shalom, this covenant of peace, and what does it mean? All right, so we're going to go back briefly to last week's Parsha, the Parsha of Balak. And we see that Bilam and Balak were these great sorcerers that came to curse the Jewish people, and Hashem overturned the words in Bilam's mouth, and instead of cursing the Jewish people, he praised the Jewish people. And Bilam praised the Jewish people with a famous pasuk that we say every morning in our davening. And he said, "Ma tovu ochaleka Yaakov, how good are your tents, Yaakov?" And he says, "Mishkanos Secha Yisrael," in the dwelling places of Israel. And what did Bilam see to bring this beautiful blessing? He saw that the Jewish people lived with sneas. They lived with modesty, and every person was happy with his own portion. He was happy with what he had, and he was not jealous of his neighbors. So no one's window faced in to his neighbor's window, and no door open to his neighbor's door. And everyone was happy living in sneas and modesty with their own lives, and they weren't concerned or trying to look into what everyone else was doing or see the inner, workings of everyone else's home. So because of this sneos, because of this great modesty, we had great protection from Hashem. But Bilam came up with a devious plan, and he attacked us where everyone is most vulnerable in the area of physical desires and immorality, and this is something that Hashem absolutely hates, and this can cause Hashem to have great anger at us. And he came up with his wicked plan that he would have the daughters of the Midyanim, the tribe of Midyan, where actually Yisro was from. Yisro was the high priest of Midyan, and he became the first ger to the Jewish people, the first convert. And his daughter Tzipporah married Moshe, married Moses, and another one of his daughters married Lazar, who was the Kohen, who was the son of Aaron HaKohen, the brother of Moshe. And then Elazar had a son named Pinchas. So what Bilam's plan is that they were going to set up a marketplace in this place called Shittim. And I'll read a midrash that explains more of what was going on in this marketplace and how Bilam's plan worked. So it says that they stationed old women on the outside of each booth in this marketplace. And they displayed merchandise of all kinds of clothing. We were talking about fashion here, which is interesting, and we see a connection between fashion leading to immorality. And they would quote a price, and they'd say, "I know these, this merchandise is really expensive, but we have a variety of cheaper articles inside." So the Jewish person would enter the tent, and he would find younger, beautiful Midianite girls, women there, and they would ask a lower price for the same merchandise. So then she would tell the Jewish person, she'd say, "We cannot understand why you Jews hate us and refuse to marry us. We like your people. Aren't we all descendants of Terach, the father of Abraham?" And she says, "See, I give you this article, I give you this piece of clothes as a gift because we're related. You seem like an old friend. So why don't you sit down and eat something?" So if the Jewish person refused, she would say, "You don't need to object on religious grounds. I know that you follow the laws of, kosher dietary laws. Here's fatted calves and hens. And you can shech them, you can slaughter them, according to halakha, and then you can eat them and have a drink." So each girl had a flask of heavy aromatic wine, and she offered it to the person she was trying to seduce. And at the time, the non-Jewish wine was not forbidden, so a Jewish person couldn't say no, it's not kosher. So then, when the Jewish person became intoxicated, he was invited to further intimacies, and only on condition, and so he was offered these physical temptations, and the condition was that he had to worship this idol called the Baal Peor. And it was very strange, and the Jewish person would say, "I won't bow to this idol." And the girl said, "No, you don't need to bow to it. You just perform you relieve yourself in front of it." So it was really disgusting, kind of a avodah zarah kind of idol worship. But the worshippers of this idol, they would eat and they would drink, and then they would bare themselves and they would relieve themselves in front of the idol. So the cult symbolized this nation's philosophy that you live in order to satisfy your animalistic desires. And you have no reason to feel inhibited before your gods, and This is really the opposite of what the Torah is trying to get people to do. And Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch actually compared this idol worship of the Baal Peor. He compared it to the theory of Darwinism, that is really a modern version of this Baal Peor cult, and it's really defining someone as like a an evolved animal. And this is then a person, since a person is just an evolved animal, they can go through their lives and they can just indulge in any kind of physical pleasures they want. It has no consequence, and that's the same idea of this worship of the Baal Peor. So it got worse and worse, and the actual Nasi, the prince of the tribe of Shimon, he brought one of these Midianite girls, and he actually brought the daughter of King Balak. Balak himself was from the nation of Midian, but he was appointed to be king of Moab to fight against the Jewish people when they were coming to enter the land of Israel. He actually gave his own daughter up to this immorality, and Zimri brought Cosbi Bat Sor, the daughter of Balak. She was the daughter of Balak, and this Zimri and Cosbi came into the camp to engage in immorality, and a great plague broke out among the Jewish people. And through the action of Pinchas, when he took a spear from Moshe, and there was a halakha of a kinoi, a zealot, and he had killed Zimri and Cosbi, and this stopped the plague. And then, it's surprising, it's such a violent action, but then Hashem says to him, he says, I give you my bris shalom, I give you my covenant of peace. And then he appointed Pinchas to be a Kohen, and many Kohen Gadols descended from Pinchas. I think there was 18 Kohen Gadols during the first temple that were descended from Pinchas, and 80 during the second temple. So what is this bris shalom? What is this covenant of peace? And Rashi says, Es brisi shalom, my covenant of peace. And Rashi explains, Shitahei lo livri shalom, that it will be for him a covenant of peace. Ki adam hamachazik tova v'chinos, and it's like a person who attributes good and graciousness, who feels thankful. Lami she'ose imo tova, that's to the one that does him a favor. So afkan, so here too, peirash lo akash baruch Hu, that the Holy One blesses he declared to Pinchas lo mosav, that he has feelings of friendship. Okay, so why does Hashem hate this physical immorality so much, and then Pinchas fighting against it, even in this violent way where he actually kills Zimri and Cosbi? Like, how does it bring the shalom? How does it stop the plague? What's going on here? So what's wrong? What's wrong with the philosophy of the Baal Peor, and what's wrong with a person indulging, in their physical pleasures any way they want? So the essence of the Torah is life and is shalom, and these are the qualities that learning the Torah and following the mitzvahs, this is the quality that Hashem wants to bring into the world. He created all life, and he wants us to help him and partner in creation. He wants us to create life. So what Hashem's done is he said, "Pru revu," he said, "Be fruitful and multiply." It was the first mitzvah given to everyone, all descendants of Adam and Chava, all the descendants of Adam and Eve, which is everyone alive. So they all were given this commandment of Pru revu, be fruitful and multiply. And the way it's meant to be done is, a man marries a woman, and through this kedushin, through this holiness in the marriage, then they can produce children. And in this way, this is how Hashem wanted people to use that physical desire, and he wanted them to bring children into the world and to populate the world and enjoy the world. And then, so what can we do? What can we do to fight this fight of Pinchas? But instead of an outward battle, this battle really has to be an inward struggle right now. And we see the world is awash in the glory of the immorality. The immorality is praised, it's glorified. Let's say, be proud of the immorality, overindulge in all your desires, and it's everywhere. It's in all the movies, it's in the TV shows, it's even in the news. Like you see on the internet, it's just awash with it. You go to an internet site just to get the news, and there's pictures of the immorality all over, around the articles of just trying to get the news. It's in the magazines, it's everywhere. So how do we fight against it? How do we start to win the battle against, the physical temptations? So one great tool that we have is shmiras ha'ayin, protecting the eyes. And one of the best remedies is the Gedolim the great Torah scholars right now, the Jewish people, they say completely shut it off. If you can, turn off the internet, turn off the TV, don't indulge in this, don't get a smartphone. Now, if you can do that, it is the best protection, it is the best remedy. But what about the rest of us? What about the rest of us that are awash and overwhelmed with all this? So the more we can turn away, the more we're protecting our eyes, and the less we're being drawn into this physical, desire, this overwhelming physical desire. And we see in the advertising, like, buy these clothes, buy this food, buy this technology. Here's, all these pictures of immorality to try to engage the taiva, the desire of people. And the more we can turn away from it, for sure, we're taking in less of that desire, less of that, less of that overwhelming of the physical desires. And the more we concentrate on our relationships, we concentrate on the relationship with a husband or a wife, and concentrate on appreciating what we have. When we are really someach b'chelko, that's right. When we're happy with what we have, we're not looking outward. We're not looking to see what we need or what everyone else has. And another great protection is just being happy and appreciating what Hashem has given to each of us. What Hashem's given us is exactly what we need. And when we're happy and we appreciate that, that is another great protection. Another great tool is the words of the Torah. Learning the Torah and doing the mitzvahs, it elevates us to a higher spiritual level. And this engages our desires for the spiritual, and we begin to crave like spiritual greatness and spiritual things. And this starts to help us get control over the physical desires. And when we control our own physical desires, then that's how we really achieve the freedom. And then we really live a life of freedom. And they want to advertise like, oh, if you just indulge in all your physical pleasures, you're free. But that's the real slavery, because you're always a slave to following after your next physical desire, and it can never be satisfied. So may we all strengthen ourselves like Pinchas and get control over these physical desires, and all enter in that bris of shalom, that covenant of peace with Hashem. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you back again on Sweet and Good Torah.